Well, we've got the design up pretty much. There's still some adjustments to be made, but we've blocked in the clothing in general, and we've done initial highlights on the outer garments, and in this session we'll spend a lot of time on highlighting the inner garment for young Philip, using the the blue, the cerulean blue, of course, and using titanium white to make that blue lighter, and with each successive highlight adding a little bit more white. Indeed, on both of these figures, the undergarment, the final highlight will be pure white. In a sense, I'm wanting these garments to be white but tinted in blue and green respectively. I'd have to say that the problems of design continue, particularly with Philip. You'll see a little later on the struggles I've had with where the elbow goes in his right hand to our left. It kind of gets worse and worse. Just another reminder that this is being shown at 4 times the normal speed. So each application of this highlight is adding more titanium white. So then I thought, oh, perhaps it would look better as if the fabric of the undergarment was loose and fell down below the elbow. So that's what this attempt is about. I'm doing a bit of a glaze with white over the whole lot so that the dark blue shadow part of it is not as dark. It blends in a bit better, and so this is quite a dilute glaze, dried off brush, but it certainly moves quite a bit of the titanium white across into those dark blue areas. But now I've gone back with white, titanium white paint, wanting to get a bit more definition into that knee, his left knee, to show where the knee is. It adds to interest and makes it look like a real figure that has joints and stuff, even though those joints are underneath flowing garments. So let's abandon the undergarment for a while and start working on the outer garment. Again, using the cerulean blue, but highlighted with the titanium white. The highlight on this won't reach the pure white that the undergarment will reach, but it needs to come to show where the light is hitting. each successive coat we just bring up a little bit. Yeah, this is where I've decided that sleeve is awful. So with a straight cerulean blue, blot it out, and then also tidying up the background just using some titanium white, so that gets some indications at this stage as to how the shape. That won't be the final cover, but just get rid of all that mess that I put in at the elbow. So I've just abandoned the outer garment for a while and gone back to that inner garment, working on that knee again. So that was really waiting for that cummerbund area to dry, where I'd repaired the elbow before going back and doing some more work with highlight in that area. Well, let's hear some background information about this Apostle Philip that we're painting. This piece was written by Keith Dyer, and he says, "The Apostle Philip was one of the 12 apostles chosen by Jesus. He should not be mistaken for the other 2 biblical figures also called Philip, Philip the deacon and also known as Philip the evangelist, a deacon appointed by the apostles to serve in the early church. And then there was Philip the tetrarch, also known as Herod Philip II, a son of Herod the Great, whose wife remarried his half-brother Herod Antipas. The Apostle Philip came from the northeast region of Galilee, from a town called Bethsaida, the same town where the other two apostles, Andrew and Peter, lived. He was called by Jesus in the early days of ministry in Galilee." The name Philip was common in the Greco-Roman world, a compound noun consisting of 2 Greek words, philos and hippos. The name literally means a friendly horse. Unlike most of the apostles whose family names were Hellenistic proper nouns derived from Semitic roots, Philip was a Greek name. This may indicate a Greek background, which might explain why, when some Greeks wanted to meet Jesus, they sought out Philip to be their intermediary. Philip is portrayed in the Gospel of John as a friendly agent, a go-between person. He introduced Nathanael to Jesus and acted as an intermediary between the Greeks and Jesus. Furthermore, in the story of feeding the 5,000, Philip was asked by Jesus where to buy bread for the crowd. This could allude to Philip being the person who was in charge of providing food for Jesus and the disciples. In a way, it conjures up a picture of Philip resembling a horse, always on the move to acquire and transport food for the Lord. Contrary to his fellow townsman, Peter, Philip is rarely mentioned in the Synoptic Gospels or in the rest of the New Testament. Outside the 4 Gospels, he is mentioned only once in Acts, in the story of Christ's ascension, and where he and other followers of Christ were in Jerusalem, devoting themselves to prayer. Subsequent accounts of the apostles' later life and ministry are absent in the New Testament. Based on disputed extra-biblical sources, Philip might have gone to Phrygia in Asia Minor, the southern region in modern Turkey, to proclaim the gospel, a region that was also twice visited by Paul. It is believed that Philip died in Hierapolis, an ancient Roman spa city in Phrygia, neighbouring the famous Pamukkale in modern Turkey. Regardless of those traditional accounts being authentic or not, from the Gospels we get a picture of an apostle who reminds us of the importance and the beauty of being a friendly agent to the Lord, for the Lord, an intermediary for other people, and a faithful servant of Christ.